Hi everyone. Today we're going to study testing the difference between two means for small independent samples. This is the part 2. T-test is used to test the difference between two means when these four conditions are satisfied. Number 1, the population standard deviations are not known. Second, one or both sample sizes are less than 30. Third, samples are independent. Fourth, samples are taken from normally or approximately normally distributed populations. Let us see now the formulas for the t-test for testing the differences between two means of small independent samples. This is the first formula, and we're going to use this when population variances are assumed to be unequal. And this is T equals x bar sub 1 minus x bar sub 2 all over this big radical. And the radicand is a sum of two fractions. The first fraction is s sub 1 square over n sub 1 plus the second fraction whose numerator is s sub 2 square over n sub 2. This x bar sub 1 and x bar sub 2 are the sample means. The s sub 1 square and the s sub 2 square are the sample variances, while n are the sample sizes. Since we are using t-test, we need to have degree of freedom, and this is the formula. It can be n sub 1 minus 1 or n sub 2 minus 1. Take note, we're going to use whichever is smaller. Now this is the second formula. We're going to use this when population variances are assumed to be equal. And the formula is T equals this big fraction where the numerator is x bar sub 1 minus x bar sub 2. In the denominator is a product of two big radicals. The first radical is n sub 1 minus 1 multiplied by s sub 1 square plus the quantity n sub 2 minus 1 times s sub 2 square. And the denominator here is n sub 1 plus n sub 2 minus 2. And the second radical, the radicand is the sum of two fractions. The first fraction is 1 over n sub 1 plus the second fraction is 1 over n sub 2. Also, we take note that x bar sub 1 and x bar sub 2 are the sample means. The s sub 1 square and s sub 2 square are the sample variances, whereas the n sub 1 and n sub 2 are the sample sizes. Computing for the degree of freedom, we have this formula n sub 1 plus n sub 2 minus 2. Let us see this example. A researcher wishes to determine whether the salaries of professional nurses employed by private hospitals are higher than those of nurses employed by government hospitals. She selects a sample of nurses from each type of hospital and calculates the means and standard deviations of their salaries. At alpha equals 0.01, can she conclude that the private hospitals pay more than the government hospitals? Assume the populations are approximately normally distributed and population variances are equal. The data gathered are here. For the private hospitals, the salaries have this data. The mean, or X bar sub 1, is $26,800. S1 is the standard deviation, and that is $600. The N1 is the number of samples, and that is equal to 10. For the government hospitals, the mean, or X bar sub 2, is equal to $25,400. The S2 is the standard deviation, and this is equal to $450. N sub 2 is the number of samples, that is equal to 8. For our solution, let us begin by writing step 1. That is to state the hypothesis and identify the claim. So we write here the null hypothesis, H sub 0, colon, mu sub 1 equals mu sub 2. Or in words, we say that there is no significant difference between the salaries of nurses from private hospitals and those from government hospitals. And H sub 1 is the alternative hypothesis, and this is colon mu sub 1 is greater than mu sub 2. We put here greater than symbol because in the question here, there is a claim that the word more than is written. And this is a one-directional inequality. And in the problem, this alternative hypothesis is the claim. For step 2, let us find the critical value. Since the test is one-tailed, in fact, this is a right-tailed. This greater than symbol denotes a right-tailed test. And then, the level of significance, that is alpha, equals 0.01. It means the degrees of freedom is equal to n sub 1 plus n sub 2 minus 2. This is the formula. When we substitute the values, the n sub 1 is 10, while n sub 2 is 8. So that is 10 plus 8 minus 2 equals 16. We look at the value in our t distribution table. We will see that the critical value is 2.583. Now step 3, compute the test value. We will use the second formula since the variances are assumed to be equal. So we have this big formula here. And then let us do the substitution. The X bar sub 1 is 26,800 minus the X bar sub 2. that is 25,400. All over, we have two big radicals here. The n sub 1 minus 1 is 10 minus 1. The s sub 1 square is 600 square. Then plus the quantity n sub 2 minus 1 now becomes 8 minus 1. And the s sub 2 square, that is 450 square. All over, n sub 1 plus n sub 2 minus 2. And that is 10 plus 8 minus 2. Then we have the second radical. So we have this square root of 1 over n sub 1. So you write here 1 over 10 plus 1 over n sub 2. And we write 1 over 8. Simplifying further, the numerator becomes 1,400. Now the first big radical in the denominator becomes 9 times 360,000 plus 7 times 202,500 all over 16. While the second radical here is simplified into 0.225. Let us now simplify the denominator. So we have this square root of 291,093.75 for the first radical. And the second radical, we will simply copy from here. And then we will get the quotient, and we have this final answer to be 5.47. This is the test value. Now, step 4, let us make the decision. Let us consider our figure here, the normal distribution, 0 at the center. The critical value, which is 2.583, is placed in between the critical region and the non-critical region. Now, consider the test value. This 5.47 is more than 2.583, and eventually this number will be written on the right side, that is consequently falls in the critical region. So our decision is we reject the null hypothesis since test value falls in critical region. Now step 5, summarize the result. We say that there is enough evidence to support the claim that the salaries paid to nurses employed by private hospitals are higher than those paid to nurses employed by government-owned hospitals. Going back to step 4, when we say reject the null hypothesis, we are accepting the alternative hypothesis. And that is the idea that we are writing in step 5. This is our final answer. I hope you learned something from this video. See you again next time.